What's going on, everybody? I'm Gary B. Jr., your media consultant. If you want to know how to get a setup that shows your primary display and your stage displays on the computer that you currently have, stay tuned because this device is the game changer that allows it to happen. What's going on, everybody? This is Gary B. Jr., and today we're going to be talking about this. The Orion Split Extend HDMI Splitter Extender Display for Quad Monitor Multi-Monitor Display, 5 separate screens with a USB-C adapter. It's HDMI 2, 4K at 30 hertz output, and it's Windows and Mac compatible. That is a mouthful, but I will say I purchased this with my own money. You can get an affiliate link down in my description below, but I did buy this and I just think it's worth the purchase. So I wanted to tell you all about it. If you're using FreeShow or any other presentation software that can support multiple displays like Pro Presenter or something like that, then you'll find a great benefit in this. And here's some of the reasons why you might need it, right? So this is for you if your computer limits your displays. All right. So if you got an M1 MacBook or not, yeah, M1 MacBook, or you may have a Mac Mini that only limits you to 2 displays. And then some of the newer MacBooks, like the MacBook Pros and things like that, they may limit you to you got your laptop and then you got 2 extra displays, so 3 total, but you still need an additional. This is for you. All right. You might want to set up a stage output, an audience output, and a lobby output with different information on it. Okay. And you can use FreeShow to do something like that. But if your computer can't support that many displays, while you're still in the media booth or at the computer being able to see everything clearly with running FreeShow, then you're going to need this. All right. And then if you don't want to just mirror your output with a splitter, because many of you already have a splitter, and some of you have tried to use your splitter to set up a stage display and an actual audience display, and it won't work. So this is a device that works as a splitter as needed. But I would say if you need a splitter, just get one that's a cheaper version of the Orion splitters that just does splitting. It just takes one input in and takes it out to 4 or 8 or whatever, however many outputs you need. This one is designed specifically to not split your signal, but to send unique signals to 4 different displays from your one computer with all the displays it can already support. Okay, so if your computer can support 2 displays, you can still support the 2 plus these 4 with this device. All right, so this is a really cool device. And so I want to talk to you guys and walk you through how to set this up. So let's look at this together. Um, the materials that you need. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. All right. And so the materials that you're going to need a computer. We've already established that it could be a Mac or a Windows computer. It's compatible with both, which is really cool. This is one of the main reasons why I actually do recommend this is because it does work with both platforms. All right. Another thing that you're going to use or need is the split extender itself, which we showed here. So you're going to need the device itself, and you'll notice the device supports those 4 different outputs on it there. And then it's got some buttons here where you actually can disable them from the device if need be by just pressing one of the buttons. And notice that it does support 1080 and 4K. So 2 1080 displays and then 2 4K displays. For presenting, it won't be that big of a deal. I know many churches that have 4K TVs, but they prefer the signal to be sent out in 1080 because it just makes it that much bigger on that display. So that's a big deal that it can support those, but it's not a big deal if you don't have a 4K TV, or even if you do have a 4K TV, the signal will still look completely acceptable if you're using the 4K or the 1080. All right. And then you want to make sure that you have the displays that you want, right? Whether they're 4K or maybe it's an LCD screen, or whatever you may need it to be, or LED screen, I should say. And it needs to be coming with they need to be displays with their own HDMI cable coming directly from the split extender. So the split extender is your source for the signal, and it goes directly to that device, that TV, all right, or that monitor or that projector. It needs to be a direct line. And I say direct, HDMI is what this is. So you might need to extend it with some type of adapter or something like that, or whatever you need to do, but you need to have a line coming directly from this extender, and then whatever route you're going to take to go to your output that you wanted to connect to, but it does not need to be like a splitter in between it, if that makes sense. You can put a splitter in between it, but it's just going to mirror whatever comes out of this device. But at the same time, many of you already have your splitters in place. So this would actually go before the splitter. All right. So the device would be before your splitter. All right. And then you need FreeShow or Pro Presenter or some presentation software that can support that many displays. All right. So now let's talk about how this would work, and let's get into it together. All right. And this is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty of how this works on terms of how to set it up. All right. So I'm walking you through the visual of it in terms of the notes, and then I'm going to walk you through it physically as well. All right. So you're going to need to connect your split extender to your computer with a USB-C or regular USB 3, I believe it takes, or it has an adapter for. And then you need to connect your USB-C device or USB-C to the device for power. So the device itself needs to be powered up. And so if you look, let's see here, if we share our screen, I don't know if this will show you on the back of the device, but I will show you on the back of the device myself. And so if we look at it from here, you'll notice that there is, this is actually connected to my computer there, and then this is actually powering it with just a connection from like a little phone charger, but it's a USB-C port that I have here. All right. And then you can see I've already got it connected for us. So let's talk about how we've got this all set up and connected. All right. Let's see what we need to do. So if we go to here, you're going to actually get that device. You're going to run the split extender. Let me do this. Let's do an overhead of me so I can show you exactly what we got. All right. So the first thing we got to understand is connecting the split extender to the computer. All right. When you get your split extender, it looks like this. And I'm just going to unplug everything because we're going to put all this back together. All right. So it comes with an adapter like this that is able to support regular USB 3 and USB-C as well. So you can connect it that way. And I've got a USB-C splitter that I use that's connected to my computer. And in the meantime, I'm going to unplug all this so we can set it up together. All right. And I've got my monitors here. These are going to act like displays in your ministry or in your church or whatever it may be. All right. And so that's what those are. But this is the device. It's got the 4 ports on it on the front side there. And then I've got it powered up with USB-C here. All right. So now I plug this in to my computer. And once it's plugged into your computer, you're going to get, or you're going to need to make sure you download the drivers. All right. So if you have not downloaded the driver, you want to download the driver. And that driver is called the Instant View driver. All right. And you'll see the paperwork in your box or in your materials that you paid for it with. And let me give you an idea of what it looks like. So this is the driver setup here, Instant View, and it says please connect monitors to USB display device, which is the split extender. All right. And so we've got the drivers already set up. And then when you do get the drivers, you're going to actually get a little pop-up window to manage it. And you can actually right click on it at the top and you'll see some options there to mirror your displays. You can go to your display settings, HIDPI, or high DPI, I believe is what that is. I'm not sure. The pop-up window at the plug-in. So when I've got that on, so every time I plug this device into my computer, it shows this little window here. All right. And then you can set up some other things for it. But the main thing is this option here that says mirror displays. That's going to toggle between mirror and extend. We want to always have it set to extend. All right. And when it says mirror, it's just saying you've already got it on extend mode. So do you want to start mirroring now? Okay. I've got mine's default to say, hey, always extend. Don't even ask me about it. Just extend them. All right. So let's go back into our overhead view here. So I've got my device all plugged up to my computer. The next thing after we've downloaded the drivers is to plug the device in. So let's plug it in to the first port here. All right. And what ends up happening is it reads it and it's interacting with the computer, and you'll notice that my display comes on. This is actually um, a monitor that I use for video, but it actually serves just like you would have a TV in your church or something like that, or a big display. It would be the same way. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is go into our computer settings. All right. And so for that, we'll do here, and you'll go up. This is an Apple. On a Windows computer, you're going to find some similar settings. I'm not going to walk you through how to do that right away just because I'm using a Apple computer. All right. And so once you go into your computer, you're going to look for displays. All right. And you'll see here, I just connected. I had these two. So I've got, this is my main monitor that I'm looking at and I'm sharing with you right now. And then I've got my built-in laptop monitor. This is a MacBook Pro 16-inch M1, okay, M1 Pro chip, okay. And then so it supports two monitors. So I can support this one, and I could support this one just by plugging it in with the USB adapter, but I prefer this because it allows me to have 4 new ports that I can just directly connect to HDMI, all right, which is best for what I need to do. And for most churches and ministries, that's going to be an ideal setup, okay? Now, this is the monitor that I just plugged in, and you will want to make sure you go to your arrange options, and you'll see here, you can see that one there, and then this one here is off to the side of my main laptop, okay? Now I've got that one in, but I want to plug in another device, right? So I've got my monitor here that's just set by default, just kind of sitting there. I'm going to take the HDMI cable for this, and I'm going to plug it in. And I'm just going to plug it in. So I've got a 1080 plug in here, and I got a 4K plug in here. I'm just going to use them interchangeably. They don't really make a great deal of difference for me. You'll notice that they kind of power off and then reset and power back on. And that means that the device is actually reading those monitors. And now if we go back into my screen here, you'll see that I've got the OC and I've got the M-Star, which is actually a port keys, I believe, monitor that I've got. All right. So if I go to arrange, you'll see now, instead of it just being one additional, I've got the OC and I've got the M-Star. So what we'll do is I'm going to arrange these to where they're in kind of the order that you can see them. All right. So this one would need to go here. And then this one would need to be over a little bit. So I'm going to drag this over like that. And I'm just arranging my windows to look the way that it looks on my desk. In this case, at your ministry, you want to make sure to arrange these how you want. And it takes a second for it to process it. And now they're all in line. So I got my M-Star and then my OC to the right of that. All right. And that's exactly what we've got here. So we got the M-Star here, and then the OC is over here. All right. Now we've got to go in and check out our next steps. All right. So after you do that, you want to go into FreeShow. All right. We got to go into our FreeShow software. And so to do that, we got to look at, I'm going to make sure to get this set up for you guys real time. And let's get this ready for us to see. All right. And so we'll go here and we're in FreeShow. All right. So we've already talked about how to set this up. Now we're in the actual FreeShow setup, and we need to go to our settings. We need to go to the outputs in the settings, and we need to enable multiple displays in terms of outputs, and then point them to our newly connected displays. All right. So we got to connect and turn on some outputs. So we're going to go up to the right, select settings. We're going to go to outputs on the left, and I've already got a primary output. That's what this is here in the blue. But I want to set up a stage output that's different, okay? And before we do that, let me make sure I set this one up. I'm going to set this up to be one of the new devices. So this is my primary. Let's turn primary. It's already on. It's set to be an invisible window for training purposes, but I'm going to turn that off. And we're going to select an actual screen, okay? So output screen, you select that, and then we're going to pick which one. I'm going to make it be the one right there. So we got my laptop here, my main monitor that you're looking at now, and then this is going to be the port keys. All right. Number 3. That's perfect. Now we've got it set up. We've got NDI on as well, which is no problem. It doesn't interfere with this process at all, but this is going to be a hardwired connection to that monitor. Okay. But I want to set up a stage display as well. So I'm going to go to stage, I've already got a stage display set up. If you don't, you would just select do output and you would pick which way you want it to be. Maybe you want it to be a stage, maybe you want it to be a lobby um, presentation computer. I'm not sure, whatever way you want it to be. But in this case, I've already selected stage. And so I'm going to go into my stage setup and I've got an option here to pick which type of stage setup I want. So I've got multiple different ones I've already created. You will have your own that you've already created as well. And that's completely up to you. And so I'll do, um, we'll do this one. This is the worship stage. It's a real simple one. So I'm gonna turn it on and you'll see that pop up there. And this is what it looks like on my working computer that I'm working on, right? That you guys can see there. But I need to make it go to a certain screen. So I'm going to select choose screens under the window options. And I don't want it to be the same one that my primary is on. I'm going to actually have it go to the other one. Okay. This will be like the one that would be in the back of your church that's facing the stage or something like that. But you would pick this device and the screens that you need. Okay. And then you can turn on NDI if you need it and turn on the audio if you need it, which in this case, you wouldn't need the audio from the stage view. And then if you want it to be transparent for your NDI stuff, you could, but stage views, you typically wouldn't do that. You would just have it set up to where it's on, you pick your screen. I would select it to be always on top. And then if you want NDI, which is not likely, but you could use that for potentially sharing with someone else in the media team, or you can just go to your connection settings and share it that way over the IP address. All right. So we're going to keep that just like it is. And now I'm going to go back to my show. All right. And I'm going to select the option up here at the top right that says present. And when I do that, check out what we got. We got our presentation on this one, and then we've got our stage display on that one. All right, so let me let you see what it looks like when I stop presenting. So I'm going to stop presenting. All right, and then go off, and then I can start presenting again. Now, I don't recommend you do this during a service. During a service, you can just say clear all, but I'm just showing you what it looks like. So when I hit present, boom, this is what happens. It shows up, it slides out that particular display choice that I made. Whereas for this one, it's the primary, and for this one, it's my stage display. Like I said, this particular primary display might be on two different TVs because you've got your split extender going out. That's the gray one here. And it's going into a splitter that goes to both your TVs in the front of the church or both your monitors or projectors. And then you've got another cable, HDMI cable coming out of the split extender that's totally separate, that's going directly to that backstage, or not backstage, but back monitor or 4K display that's in the back of the church usually, or maybe on the floor on the stage, but it's your stage view. Okay. And it shows everything that you need for your stage view. In this case, I picked the one that has a time on it, and then my current and next slides, along with if there was any notes or anything like that with them. Okay. Now, hopefully that makes sense to help you get started. If I had another display here, I could plug in another one to this device and another one to this device. Let's say I wanted this one to be going out to my lobby uh, monitor or display or something like that. You could do that, and you would just go back into FreeShow, set up another output, and then turn it on and connect it to that particular output that you've already set up in your computer under displays. And you would actually be able to point right to it based on where you want it to go. All right. Now, let me know if you got any questions in the comments below. If you want to use this device, feel free to use the link. It doesn't change anything for you. It just gives me a bit of an affiliate percentage or whatnot of your purchase, but it's something that I highly recommend. This device is a game changer for me because my computer is limited to two outputs outside of the current screen that it has. And even with those two, I would have to have one that has a HDMI adapter for USB-C. Okay. And so this does that. It still uses a USB-C adapter to HDMI, but it gives me, instead of just one, it gives me four outputs, which I prefer more than anything. And so that would be my recommendation if you're looking to try to use FreeShow or any other presentation software, but your computer doesn't have the display cards that you need to be able to show it to multiple different computers or devices, I'm sorry, at the same time in terms of monitors, LED screens, whatever it may be. All right. This is the best way to go about getting that done. And it's the most affordable way because, as I said before, This is not an expensive device. It's actually less than $100, which is not very common in terms of other options, because there are a lot of other options out there, but this device is under $100, right? It's at $99, and that's just the normal rate. Okay, that's the normal price. It's not going to go up. It might go down depending on if you find it on sale. This is on Amazon. You might be able to find it other places, maybe on the Orai, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but maybe on their website, you might be able to find this same device at that rate. But it is a really cool device and allows you to send out multiple signals to multiple displays from FreeShow in this case, without it skipping a beat, and you can have it directly connected to any computer, which is the biggest deal, right? You can hook it up to Mac, hook it up to Windows, and it just works, right? Make sure you get the drivers, like set it up like we set it up to where it is set to extend, and it will automatically extend it. Now, here's the cool thing that I didn't show you guys about this device that is kind of cool. If I press this button on it, it actually puts the displays, it just makes them go black. They're still connected to the computer, because if you go to the settings, right? If we go back to our settings page, they're still connected, okay? It just stopped the signal from going out to the displays, but it still reads the displays as being there. And so what that means is if I press this button again, those displays come right back. All right. And you can do that with the first two and the second two are on separate buttons. So you can disable two of them at a time as needed, if that's something that's important for your setup. Okay. And so maybe you set this one up on this as opposed to on that. So let's see what that would look like if we were to disable it and plug it up into a different one. So I'm going to turn that off, or power it down, I should say, with that button. And I'm going to plug this into here. Let's see what happens. You'll notice that it's got a blue and a green now, and it automatically read it. It's still showing my stage display as needed, but now I can actually control and power the stage display down with just the click of a button, which is completely up to you. You can do this in FreeShow just as easily because we're showing FreeShow content, but it's something that's an added feature of this device, and I can turn off the show if I needed to with the push of a button. Some of you may find that helpful. Personally, it's not my preference. I wouldn't necessarily want to be clicking that to turn those on and off. I would prefer to just keep them on all the time. But I just wanted to show you that you can actually select your HDMI ports from any of these, and it'll work, and to see what it looks like when you do connect multiple displays and not right next to each other, because that's definitely an option. You can plug them up wherever you need to. So let me know if you got questions in the comments, and how have you been setting up your stage displays? What devices do you currently use? And are they cheaper than $99? That would be my question, right? I know there are a lot of different options out there, but I'm curious, has anybody been using this? Have they noticed any challenges with it, right? What challenges have you run into? Because when I first got this device, which I bought at the beginning of July, I had some challenges because I wasn't comfortable with it, and I had to use it at an event, at a training, probably I think I bought it 2 days before my training. I didn't have time to play with it too much. And I ran into some issues because I didn't know how to make the drivers work well. And I realized I needed to just set it to extend out the gate. No questions asked, to always extend, because what ended up happening is that sometimes it would default to mirror mode on one display and then extend mode on the other. And I couldn't figure out how to make it work the way I needed to, because I needed both of them to be on extend mode. And when I got back home from that training, I figured it out without a problem. But I was in a crunch and in a bind, and I couldn't do it right away. And so hopefully this video helps you not run into what I ran into when I started using this device. I'm Gary B. Jr., your media consultant. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great. But my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that, and that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about, and to share this video with someone just like you, someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.